it's time for us to have a talk. Um, the Senate confirmed Amy Coney Barrett today to the United States Supreme Court. And for those of you that aren't paying attention, the woman literally dressed up as a handmaid as a joke because she doesn't think that her personal views bleeding into her judicial decisions are cause for concern. The rest of us, however, who have uteruses and reproductive rights that we would like to protect, are really concerned with this appointment. Not to mention that this is the 20-year anniversary of the 2000 election. And I really wish that I could talk to my presidential executive power poli-sci professor, Professor Rose, right now, because I'll never forget the time that we were in class and we were talking about the 2000 recount. And she asked us, what do you think that the 2000 recount is going to be in 20 years? Do you think that we'll still be talking about it? Do you think that it will matter? And I raised my hand because it was a poli-sci class and I liked to talk a lot. And I said, I think there's going to be books and chapters upon chapters of books about the 2000 election. I think that the 2000 election is going to be pivotal to the way that we do politics from here on out. And I think that what happened with the Supreme Court is an absolute travesty. And on and on and on and on and on, because that's what kids do when they're idealistic and in college and want to show how smart they are. And she listened thoughtfully and politely, and then she said, I don't think so. I think it's going to be one little paragraph in one little book somewhere in a textbook somewhere. Little did she or I or anyone else know that election really did set the stage for everything, for the Russian meddling in 2016, for the recount in Minnesota that I actually had the honor of taking part in for Senator Franken. That precedent, even though the decision was written that this is a one-time only thing, we're never going to do this again, it opened the door for the court to get involved with politics. And what we've seen in the last 20 years since that decision is decision after decision after decision in which the conservative members of the court are actually getting involved in political decisions. And they're getting involved in political decisions that are not necessarily within the boundaries of the law, but in the interest of their political allies. Citizens United is a perfect example of this. Nowhere in our history, in all of the history books, all of the American history books that I've ever read, nowhere in our history did anyone say that corporations should be able to be considered entities with voting power. That is not what the framers intended. In fact, we were built as a country so that we would have individual rights and so that we would have individual voices in government. That's why our legislatures are structured the way they are. That's why we have a republic and not a few other parts of government that, I'm talking now and I could probably be more eloquent, but, who are we kidding? I don't know if anyone's going to watch this anyway. But, our framers did not intend for someone like Amazon, a company like Amazon, or a company like GM, or a company like Comcast to wield enough power as an entity that they usurp the power of the voters and the power of the citizens. That is not what our Constitution said or says. And we have a rich history in the development of our nation of breaking up monopolies, of making sure that corporations don't usurp individual rights or the rights of labor to organize. And what we've seen in the last 20 years, or maybe even 40, is the Republicans chipping away at that constitutional mandate little by little by little, so that they can essentially put everybody into corporate slavery and become an oligarchy. And I don't want to live in an oligarchy, and I don't want to live in a fascist state. And I'm not okay with private ownership of our public utilities. And I am not okay with private ownership of our prisons. And I am definitely not okay with the government telling me what I can do with my body, or with giving police unlimited authority to act as judge and jury and executioner and usurp the power of jurisprudence. Because that's another thing that our Constitution lays out very coherently. Everybody gets a jury and a trial by their peers. Everybody is innocent until proven guilty. Those are cornerstones that we learn in 8th grade, maybe even younger. I think we were talking about that when I was in 3rd or 4th grade. But, this idea that police can just gun somebody down and not face any consequences at all. The idea that police could gun down Walter Wallace yesterday in Pennsylvania, and that those officers will likely not face any consequences for their actions, is not only a travesty of justice and a mockery of our beautiful constitutional system that people shed blood for and died and lost their families, and it usurps all of that. And it basically reinforces the idea that white men are supreme and the supreme rulers. And I'm pretty sure that the 14th Amendment, that the Civil Rights Act, that Title IX, that all of those things were laws that were enacted to try to combat that perception of white male normalcy and everybody else being other. And I realize that there are police officers that are of all different races and genders, but it is a racist system created by white men to keep minorities down. That is the core of the police state. And we are living in a police state, and with every killing of every black man or woman or child that goes unpunished and unchecked, we further exasperate the sense that we're living in a hopeless and powerless state of being. So, I think that the Republicans are trying to steal the election. I think that the fact that in 2 weeks, with half of them out with coronavirus, they managed to confirm a completely illegitimate Supreme Court judge, but they can't pass COVID relief for the millions upon millions upon millions of people that are suffering in the middle of a pandemic without income, who are at risk of losing their housing, all of the people with mortgage payments who are going to lose their homes, all of the children that are being schooled at home in front of Zoom cameras because it's not safe for them to go to school because their states have failed them and the federal government has failed them and the ineptitude of the Trump administration has failed them. And Mitch McConnell and Senate Republicans have refused to even bring the CARES Act to the floor for a vote. Can't even get it out of committee. But they can confirm a Supreme Court justice against the will of the American people, going back on their own justification for not confirming Merrick Garland, who, by the way, in case anybody remembers, was a compromise in the first place. He was supposed to be the pick that made Republicans happy. He wasn't like some super liberal judge. He was not a Ruth Bader Ginsburg. He was a moderate judge who would have taken a moderate stance on the court and who would have kept the court from becoming a political entity. And now what we have is a Supreme Court that has been compromised by corruption. And it's dividing our country, and it's undermining our republic, and it's doing everything that the Russians tried to do in 2016. It's making us not believe in the entities that were created as the foundation of our Republic of the United States of America. So, what can we do? You can vote. You can take an old person to vote. You can procure PPE so that vulnerable people can go and stand in line and vote, because Republicans are counting on people staying home because they're afraid of catching coronavirus, or they feel hopeless and helpless and unsafe. And we need to make the vote against them so astronomical that there can't even be a Supreme Court challenge, that there can't even be a recount in any state. We need a landslide of blue all the way down the board, including fucking Kentucky, because Mitch McConnell is every bit as dangerous to the American Republic as Donald Trump and Mike Pence are. And he needs to go. And Lindsey Graham needs to go. And Susan Collins definitely fucking needs to go. She doesn't get to have her cake and eat it too. She doesn't get to be the moderate voice in the Senate and then turn around and just toe the conservative line all the way down straight to her fucking bank account. How many of these other Republicans have secret bank accounts? I want to know. How many? Is it one? Is it all of them? Is it the entire Republican leadership? Has the entire Republican leadership been getting un-FDA approved coronavirus treatments unbeknownst to the American public at the cost of our tax money? I mean, what's going on? What's going on with Mitch McConnell's hand? Why does it look like he is either a Horcrux or reached in to grab his Horcrux? I don't know, you guys. I'm all over the place. I'm just babbling at this point, but I'm frustrated and I'm angry, and I saw a quote on Twitter the other day that said, you know, voting is all you can do because it's the only thing that brings comfort. And it's true. Because unless we get these idiots out of office, they're going to continue to destroy the very fabric of everything that makes us good and everything that makes us the country that everybody wants to come to. We're supposed to be the country where all are created equal and you can come here and you can be whatever you want to be. And that's just not the case. Especially now, when we have a president that says stand by to white supremacists and that there are fine people in the Ku Klux Klan. When we have a president who's sat on his ass for 7 months while people all over the country are getting infected with a virus that they have no idea what it's going to do to them in the long run. And the hate and the evil mean-spiritedness that people feel okay expressing now because of Donald Trump, because of Stephen Miller, because of Mitch McConnell, because of Ted Cruz, because of all of those people who will not denounce white supremacy, because of Lindsey Graham, because of DeSantis in Florida, putting people I love in danger, and police brutality going completely unchecked, and Black and brown people and BIPOC people all over this country being killed or maimed without recourse or consequence. That's what's on the ballot here. And I don't care if you want to argue till you're blue in the face about why you're going to support Donald Trump. If you're supporting Donald Trump, you don't care about humans. You don't care about equal rights. You don't care about women. You are not a Christian. Because Christ would have gone into the White House, into the Oval Office, and overturned the desk where he keeps all of the empty folders that he likes to put on for show. So just vote, you guys. Just fucking vote. Like, how hard is it? Anyway, I'm about to go out into the field, and I'm going to a vigil, and I am going to be on Twitter tonight, so that link is pinned down at the bottom so you can watch. I'll probably do another video tomorrow. I may do a video every day until the election, because I think it's that important that we have this open dialogue and that we talk. And I'm in Oregon, so, you know, lucky for me, we have mail-in voting, and there has been no fraud in our voting system the entire time we've had mail-in voting. In fact, we have, in 2018, I think we had the third largest voter turnout in the country. Something like 70% of eligible voters voted. Or maybe that was 2016. Anyway, mail-in voting makes voting accessible and easy, and it opens up the opportunity for people to vote who maybe are in a nursing home, or maybe are in a hospital, or maybe don't have the transportation or the means to get to a ballot place. So there's nothing wrong with it, and we need to have a federal mandate for mail-in voting. It needs to be a constitutional amendment, just like we need to get rid of the Electoral College, because it makes no sense that those of us that live on the West Coast and those of us that live in the Northeast, where we are densely populated and highly populated, and also, incidentally, responsible for most of the GDP of this country, makes absolutely no sense that our votes count less than somebody in Kentucky or Tennessee or Mississippi or Arkansas or any other place in the South that relies on our tax dollars to survive. So let's get rid of the Electoral College, and let's have a popular vote, just like every other country in the world that is in a dictatorship. The Electoral College was supposed to guard us from people like Donald Trump, and it did the exact opposite. So it's time for it to go. It doesn't serve its function anymore. Anyway, tune into Twitter. Also, follow, like, and subscribe down there. If you're watching this on Instagram, follow me on Instagram and tell your friends to follow me. And if you're watching this on Twitter, do the same. Periscope, all the things. Tune into my live streams all week. I will be streaming almost exclusively on Twitter and Periscope. You can find me at Augustina Eliza, AUGUSTINAELIZA on Twitter, or Augustina Elizabeth on Periscope. And then also Halo Space, because I'll be streaming on behalf of Halo Space this week. And what else? Oh, if you have any questions or comments, or you want to reply to this video, please feel free. And yeah, just turn in your ballots, guys. Go vote. Go early vote. Go get rid of these crooked monsters that really don't care if we live or die. And let's restore some dignity to our country so that we can all be Americans again, instead of being Republican or Democrat or liberal or progressive or conservative or anything. Like, we should all be Americans first. And we're not. And we're not, because our values are being warped by people who want to use fear-mongering and hate to control us. So let's act with love. And this year, acting with love means voting blue. It means voting blue all the way down the ticket, right down to your elected judges and your school board. It means every single person that you can put into office that is not a Republican is who you should vote for. Because even libertarians are encouraging people to vote for the Democratic ticket this year. That should tell you how bad it is. And then next time around, let's get rid of Rand fucking Paul, because I am totally sick of that guy. Speaking of libertarians, like, come on, dude. You're not even a real doctor. You're going to talk about coronavirus, but that's another video entirely. Thank you for watching. Follow, and mwah! I will catch you on the flip side.